Good. So look, let me kick off today. For those who know me, welcome. My name is Craig Gillham. I'm the CEO of Socium 10X. You're joining us today for our Leadership is Mental go-to network. This is your platform. This is where we're hosting live coaching sessions, webinars like today, the latest and greatest on news articles, where we're hoping to have forthcoming exclusive events. And today I'm very excited to be joined by Kieran Gilmurray. It's a nice introduction for me because Kieran and I go way back. We've known each other now, God believe it or not, 10 years. We work together leading a data and organizational transformation in a general insurer. Again, probably 9 years ago, Kieran had a huge team of data scientists. He was at the forefront of data science 10, 20 years ago. He's become someone who I like to call a chief influencer with anything related to data, to AI. He's regularly hosting global speaking events, conferences. We together have hosted 3 or 4 webinars now. Every one of them is a bit of a laugh, bit of excitement. A 10x emotion for me is I'm sure some of us are all feeling a bit overwhelmed and excited by AI. So today is that opportunity to explore deeper and how AI is introducing those type of emotions into leadership and into our domain. I'd be failing if I didn't say Kieran is for his sins. He's also an executive coach. He's about to launch his second book, which is, he's not a very good marketeer, so he's got no banners today, but his second book is live tomorrow on Amazon. Called The A to Z of AI, generative AI. So very, very topical. I read Kieran's first book about 18 months ago, which was called The A to Z of Organizational Digital Transformation. Again, I won't sing the accolades, but it was an exceptional read filled with case studies and actually very different to any other read that I've read on the marketplace. So I too am excited by his imminent book that's launching tomorrow. So without further ado, just so everyone's aware, we're going to keep this as informal as possible. Any questions, please fire. They'll be coming up to me. We'll try to keep an open dialogue. Let's have some fun today. But Kieran, first off, welcome.
Thank you for that. What a wonderful introduction.
Yeah, just to, I made myself look very bad, haven't I? But listen, I am just blank sheet, what is happening out there in the world of AI? We're all hearing things, like I said, there's excitement, but just bring it to life. What is happening out there?
Yeah, dare I say too much. And it is, I love what you were saying at the top end, Craig, because this really is overwhelming at the moment. And to me, there's no surprises in the overwhelming. There's just too much hype, far, far, far too much hype. When you look at back in the day at all the technologies, blockchain, £4,000 virtual reality headsets, robotic process automation, CRMs, ERP, they all are brilliant technologies in their own way.
Yeah,
they're all fantastic technologies once you understand the business problem and once you understand where the technology fits. But were you to believe what's happening in the first 18 months of any of these technologies, you would swear that this was the answer to every problem that ever created in any business area, in any circumstance whatsoever. And that's just not true, because no technology has all the keys to the kingdom and can unlock every door. That said, once we removed the hype, and AI is what I describe, Craig, as an 80-year-old overnight success story, because it's been around since the term was coined in 1956. And we've had AI winters where everything has been disastrous and funding's been removed. And we've had AI springs and summers when the doors and the funding is open up again and new movements and new moments have happened. And you can pick some of those out, Gary Kasparov claiming a machine could not be more intelligent than a human, then getting beaten 4 out of 5 times by a computer, then claiming it must have not worked. It was a human doing it when it wasn't. Go was an exercise, all of a sudden beating a grandmaster in a complex task. AI's been around, as you and I said at the beginning. I've been doing this 10, 15 years ago, but if you were to read what you read in the press, everything's just happening now. That said, as I said a moment ago, this is a truly transformative period of time, and AI, particularly generative AI, is an amazing technology. And the fact that it is now getting a tremendous amount of attention, if you can remove the hype, and that's going to be difficult, when you start to apply AI, which ultimately gives you new content, new ideas, new insights, allows you to make better decisions than ever. When you apply that to the right circumstances in your business, it is transformative and a phenomenal change tool or phenomenal change initiative. Bring a great human together with great digital technology, and that is the future of work, then you can do amazing things. So you're now starting to see, use cases reappearing that have been around for decades. So you and I, 10, 15 years ago, Craig, were in insurance companies looking at retention analytics. In other words, how do we play tunes on price and marketing and contact methods to retain the most profitable customers as judged by their customer lifetime value? How do we staff a particular contact center so our costs and our service levels are optimal so we can run a business by running simulation analytics? How do we put in conversational AI into the front of the businesses? And I'm not talking about the usual chatbot says no, but you've now got AI and Gen AI infused into technology that suddenly comes up with a human-like answer that actually makes sense. You're starting to see products like Vasa One. You're seeing stuff like Sora where you can convert, text into video. And if I'm a marketing and digital agency, is it there or thereabouts when I can replace humans? Some of it is. But we're really talking about very affordable technology. In other words, $20 a month to do something that cost you and I $1 million a year ago. And if you apply that technology in the right circumstances to the right business problem, you can immediately be 40% more productive, 40% better quality, and probably a heck of a lot more innovative by using a very small number of tools on a daily basis that are absolutely affordable, absolutely accessible. And then if you want to move through the spectrum where you move from a taker, in other words, taking SaaS tools and doing stuff with them, to a maker, Amazon Bedrock, whatever else other flavor it is, to combine your own data to create competitive advantage, all the way up to Shaker being an open AI and Anthropic or something else, everything's now available. But to go back to what I said, there has to be the right business case, you apply the right technology, you remove the hype, and if you're not able to do that yourself, go and get some support.
Yeah. And Kieran, how do you think leaders are feeling at the moment with everything that you've just mentioned there? How's that emotional stack? How are they dealing with some of this at the moment?
Yeah, it's not something people talk about, Craig, a lot, is the emotional side of business. But I talk to leaders all the time because I work with leaders in industries as far away as Greece and Romania this morning in England. Later on today, I'll be talking to people in the US, probably somewhere between Malaysia, someone in France today, if that's my typical day. And all of them are deliriously excited, wonderfully skeptical, and under a great deal of pressure to make hay out of the same sunshine. I need to explain that last comment in general. So look, the technology works. This has been around for decades. There's new variation Gen AI where you can create new content, new videos, new text, ask it 1,001 things that will come up with a human-like answer. And when you put great people with great digital technology together, and I have 5 AI tools open every day that cost me $100 a month, that have, and that, you know me, I'm freakish about my time and maximizing my value. That has given me the 40% lift. BCG have done a study, 30-40% lift, as have others, in terms of productivity and quality work. That's exciting for CEOs. If I can get my team to do more, deliver more business outcomes, that's a fantastic thing. But the hype is unreal. There's something I call AI washing. And by AI washing, what I'm saying, or Gen AI washing, you'll remember back in the day in robotic process automation or whatever, Everybody had a product. They put the word RPA on it, intelligent automation. Yeah. Now they're putting the word generative AI or AI on it. And recently there's been a couple of really interesting court cases where companies that were doing that were sued. They had to prove that they had AI in their product, and they actually didn't. Yeah. So again, it's a scary time because, you know, things are moving so fast. I'm hearing so much about this. I know it's beneficial, but I know there's a massive amount of hype. I know there's AI washing going on with the word added onto it. Yeah. That's overwhelming. I'm under pressure from my executive team and my board to put AI in because I'm in danger of falling behind. And we truly, truly, truly are in an age of whatever you want to call it. AI Darwinism, digital Darwinism, takes your pick. Yeah. But this technology is too important and too transformative to ignore. So if you don't jump in now and learn the taker part, not the maker and the shaper, there's a period of time to be done to understand it, to train everyone, to put responsible guidelines in, to understand ethical AI. Rush and you're in trouble. Don't rush and you're going to get left behind. You're trying to do this, though, with the same budget as before, because AI is cheap at the start, but the more you put it into your business, the more cost you're going to put in. And if you've got a fixed IT budget, now you're trying to put this in and a data center and an AI and a team and whatever. You're trying to fit it in, squeeze more juice out of the same lemon. That's tough. So it's exciting. It can be expensive if you do it wrong. You're not too sure what to do, but you know you need to do something. But what is that something amongst the hype? That's a really confusing time for everyone and kind of not fair either.
Yeah. You made me think there when you mentioned RPA about was often the problem then was just, you didn't define your processes that you were looking to automate. Are we seeing the same to get the best out of generative AI? You know, again, where we're leaning to is data and algorithms, right? Are we battling with some of the same challenges there? Are leaders struggling with and it almost leads to, I should say, the whole ethical position around what's coming back and what is that doing to people's jobs and how can leaders help in that regard? So sorry, there's a lot there, but I'll just throwing that at you.
But I like that. So let's unpack that a little bit. Look, there are no new technology problems in the world. CRM, ERP, robotic process automation, you know, all these things require an understanding of your data and good quality data. If you put rubbish data in, you're going to get rubbish out. And what I've seen, and again, I'm seeing it again now, because there's very few true experts in this area who've been there, done that. There's too many cowboys and cowgirls and cowdays jumping in at the moment because there's money to be made, which is, you know, that's fair enough. But let's work ethically as businesses. I'm a firm believer, as you know, that all boats rise on a floating tide. So if we can share the information, hence the books money go to charity. This isn't a promotion for myself, because I got really frustrated with all the hype happening and all the BS. So I thought, right, I'm writing a book. I'll share that out. Anybody can read that. They can dip in and dip out at any stage and get caught up really quickly. If everybody gets this right, we're going to create far more economic value, but there's always an amount of waste because of AI washing over promise. So folks, do business ethically. Let's get on with that. But you need good quality data. To get good quality data, you need to understand the business problems you're trying to solve. Once you understand the business decisions that you're trying to solve, to come up with far better outcomes in terms of decision plus product plus whatever else, then you understand the data that you need. And then you work back from that and you put the processes in place that allow you to capture that data, make sure it's really good quality, make sure you're collecting the right amount of data in the right jurisdiction, and only the data that you need. Don't suddenly create huge dumps of data because you might need it, because there's not only ethical considerations here, but there's legal considerations as well. EU AI Acts come out, the GDPR Act's coming out. So you can't have lots of data in lots of places and not seek permission for it, or try and just collect as much as you can that in a case you may use it someday. That's too expensive and silly. So the process design, the understanding your business, great data quality doesn't go away. And I'm seeing the same thing here, where people are rushing to get out a proof of concept. So then you're in pilot purgatory, where there's so many proof of concepts all around the place, you're just stuck and you waste money. Okay, how do you fix that? Because that's what people should be really interested in here. Is it redesigning all of my processes in a business? well, I can't afford to do that. I don't have enough time in the day. I want quick answers. I've heard them all. There are two types of change, Craig. There is big change and there is small change. Yeah. If you are in an archaic analog business, then you're going to have to jump both feet in and go right up to your waist in this. Yeah. And therefore, you have to sit and work out, what is it that my customers want and adore and admire and are willing to pay a price for an excess of cost to deliver so that I can make a profit and stay in business and fulfill my leadership duties and answer my shareholder duties. I want to raise more value for shareholders and I want to raise the share price, the ultimate game in town. So if I need big transformative change, then the future is human and digital. And by human and digital, we're talking about intelligent automation, AI, but really great trained people who are augmented by fantastic technology. I might not need 1,000 people. I might need 500 if everybody else is 40% more productive. My cost to serve can be varied then as well. So therefore, I'm not trying to match, fixed cost in a business that may go up and down. I'm going to start to put the right number of people in with all of the right technology to allow my cost to be a lot more variable. So that needs done. But businesses don't work in a perfect scenario. And I'm not giving anybody a get out of jail card, because anything worthwhile doing takes time and effort and energy and discipline, and it takes executive oversight and executive ownership. And therefore, look, if I were advising people with AI at the moment, I think you need to build the muscle, just like you needed to build the memory muscle and the discipline muscle with RPA, and therefore take it in steps. I divide it into the three things: taker, maker, and shaper. Taker is take the technologies that are available now, off-the-shelf SaaS-based tools like Grammarly, ChatGPT, Gemini, Bard, Veed.io, or a whole host of other things that allow you to be more productive and more creative. Wrap an education program around that from the top of the business to the bottom so they understand AI. Wrap a security and ethics policy around it and a usage guide, because some of these tools out of the wrapper in the public domain are not secure. Yeah. You cannot put your data into them, as Samsung did and others have done, and not get it exposed to the internet. So how you go about using these is important. But everybody in your business using, the tools that are freely available, the Code Whispers, the Git Pilot Code Pilots, whatever, Microsoft Code Pilots, any of those, you can be more productive, more creative, and deliver better quality work today. Then once you've understood the tooling and the security, you can then move on to tools like Amazon Bedrock, some of the Google platforms, Microsoft Azure, and a whole host of others. And then you can start to train those models securely with your data and create AI applications and AI. And it's not all about Gen AI, retention models, segmentation, customer lifetime value, debt analytics, personalized email, and whatever else. All those are AI, not Gen AI. But if you do want to create social media content, if you want to write white papers, if you want to create video and audio, if you want to clone yourself and your staff to allow you to produce courses and deliver talks when you're not even available, all the Gen AI stuff's there. But you can do it securely, build that muscle, understand the business problem, put in AI, fix your data as you need to, gain competitive advantage. And then if you really want to, or you need to, you move to the shaper side of things, where you can download a large language model, or you can build an AI platform and data center and data analytics and data reporting in your own data centers, away from Azure, away from whoever it is, Anthropic, away from whatever other company, Amazon Bedrock. You can do that as well today if you need to or want to. Want to is you might want to do it yourself to get a competitive bespoke advantage with your data. Need to might be in the instance of, I'm a bank, I have a particular need to keep our client data away from the internet entirely, and therefore I'm going to put it in my own data center and rock that. In terms of cost, it goes taker, cheap, maker, more expensive, and shaper. Now that's the big bucks. But your business, again, it's not about cost. It's about the return that you get out of your investment. That's the method people should be looking at, considering the return, and then work your way back.
Yeah. And Kieran, picking up on, I read that BCG study, I think where they trialed 80 consultants, all gave them generative AI, and they saw a 40% uplift in their performance against their peers. So everyone is getting excited by, growth, performance uplift, being more efficient. How is that being complemented with, I mean, you even mentioned it, right, where you can have 1,000 people, all of a sudden you only need 500. This is the area of concern. What can organizations, what can sort of management and leaders do? And there are some hard decisions here, actually, to give people some comfort that they're still in the mix. However, there might be some skills retraining, et cetera, et cetera. What are you seeing those challenges? How are leaders dealing with those challenges? What are you finding as sensible ways forward to combat them? And it's never a utopia answer, but I think there's got to be some compromise here. And this is also where the ethics comes into it, and where we want to take and get the best out of people.
Yeah, look, you have to dig a little bit, Craig, because everybody's talking about AI and doing all the things with it. The reality on the ground is pilot purgatory, where people are just setting these things up because their board need them to be seen to be doing it. Yeah. A little bit of waste of money where people have been, unfortunately, the victim of AI washing, which is odd, and a little bit of overbelief in some of the stories. So even the BCG, but when you dig into that story a little bit, and by the way, it's a positive story and this is positive technology. So don't hear anything that I'm saying today that's not advocating for AI or Gen AI, but do hear caution and ethics and responsibility in making better decisions. The 40-50% uplift was I start as a consultant and then I use Gen AI or AI tooling to augment me as an individual with tooling that's been trained on a lot of BCG stuff and content, whatever. And I can quickly get up to speed compared to an experienced consultant. But even an experienced consultant who is augmented with digital technology, suddenly there's a 13, 15, 25% productivity uplift. So the data's there. There's not just BCG. I've done it in practical reality, and I've seen 10 other studies saying the same thing. So done right, damn, yeah, you jump at this technology and you do it really well. But here, to your point, Craig, is where I worry because people are jumping and not thinking. I go back in the day and I remember dynamite. Now, I wasn't around on the day, but dynamite was created to clear mountains, to allow people to travel between locations, to see relatives, to open up America, to do more business, to do a whole lot of positive things. Guess how that turned out? Hence why we have the Nobel Prize. AI is kind of the same thing for me at the moment. Yeah. So let's be really clear about what's happening here. Will AI become something tremendous? The answer is yes. Yeah. The volumes of cash going into this are too strong. The amount that big companies, Intel, IBM, Microsoft, OpenAI, name it, the volumes are too big and the benefits are too real. And I've lived through the benefits 10 plus years ago. Yeah. This is now an extension of that. Why now? Well, processing power, cost to serve, consumers understanding it. There's so many reasons why this will be huge. But let's walk through the consequences. I've started to watch some videos recently, and if I take Amazon Copilot or Code Whisper, as it's known, on the website they say, look, in 13 computer languages, we can make new starters 57% more productive. Okay, to your point, if I've got 100 coders, let's say it's only 20% more productive, but that's brilliant. There's an extra day's coding a week. Then I now need to make decisions. So if it can make it 57% or 25% more productive, do I take out 25% of the workers? From a shareholder perspective, you might. In other words, I want to reduce my cost to build. I want to improve my margins, and therefore great. And I augment great people, digital, human technology together, and I can get better quality work, better quality code, and people will only get better. And the technology, the AI technology today is as bad as it's ever going to be. And damn, it's good at the moment. But imagine version 10. Version 10 isn't in 10 years. Version 10 is probably in 18 months. So then I get rid of 25, decision. The alternative is I look at this and I think beyond and say, well, actually, I can do this cheaper, better, quicker, faster than my competition. Yeah. And therefore, I can open up new markets, new whatever. And fantastic, off we go. Brilliant news for shareholders. Okay, so now let's go to workers in the first instance. Now I've been let go because there's a phrase that started a while ago, and I truly reinforce it. Those who know AI and use it will replace those who don't. That, I believe, is a fact. Okay. So to your point, I always believe in business strategy, technology strategy, and people strategy. Those things need to go together. So in addition to rolling out the tech, what are the consequences to people? Everybody in the organization needs trained and developed. The people strategy team should be absolutely behind any business anyway, regardless of tech, because you need to be preparing your workers to be and have the skills that they need to allow the business to serve the market in X months, X years' time. That should always be part of your momentum. AI and now digital workers, to get AI and human workers, digital and human, are going to be key. So this is the moment when the CHRO shines and suddenly can bring forward ideas, tooling and whatever else. And I genuinely believe, I think we'll start to see the chief generative AI officer appearing, because the AI technology and the Gen AI technology in particular is going to show businesses the huge scope of this across every department. But if I can't learn AI and everybody can't become a data scientist, and thank God this technology can be used by anyone, that's the exciting bit. I don't need to be a data scientist to create new content, videos, or whatever else. I can, in human-like language, suddenly create the most wonderful social media campaign. I can do analytics on my contact center. I can do my retention analytics if I'm sure. I can do all that in English, which is why it's so powerful. But people need trained. I genuinely believe there'll be consequences. And what I'm really scared of, and I say at times, Craig, I'm excited as I am frightened. I flipped that phrase to I'm as frightened as I'm excited about AI, because when I see robots repeating what people do perfectly, when I see technology answering questions in a better way than a graduate can do, and I'm going, this is version 1, what the hell happens version 10? We seriously have to ask ourselves, are we sleepwalking into an age when people's jobs are suddenly removed? And think about it. This isn't the fact, and a lot of us ignore it, that there's workers in Amazon or other factory or Cadbury's or whoever it is are getting replaced by robots, because we can't feel it, we can't see it. So-called intellectual workers like you and I, or knowledge workers like are on this phone. This is one of the first technologies that can attack our skill base, replace us in a lot of things. How transformative will that be? You know, let's see, because there's been tech talked about in the past, personal computers, mainframe, RPA, that said it will replace humans at mass. Technically, the technology can do that. And it goes back to your point earlier on, redesign the processes for AI and RPA. We blocked it as humans. We come up with all sorts of excuses why we wouldn't do big transformative change. And therefore people have survived. We've widened out the market because of technology and created more value. So I think we're at a crossroads that will say we will create a bigger market and we will do more with AI, and people can be more productive, more creative, and it's an and question. Although the alternative is actually people are out of jobs. If you look at a factory these days, a really technology-driven factory, there isn't hundreds of people in Cadbury's anymore. There's groups of people, and then there's change roles and new roles, but not everybody, as I said, can become a robotics engineer. So we have to think forward. We have to look at policies. We have to look at people and career pathing. We have to think around the corner where dynamite never did, because there's real consequences to jobs. There's real consequences to ethics, biased AI, copyright. There's so many legal things to be worked out. Please don't let that put you off. Those are just the airs of caution, because I want people to step forward deliberately and ethically and responsibly. But this is great tech, so you need to start learning regardless, or in addition to all that.
There's almost the onus if we, I take the view, let's jump in. And if we jump in, you know, one, we can harness the power, but yet we can also make sure that we're shaping this for the better of ourselves as human beings. And for me, it lends itself to, we need to get more human-centered anyway. And, you know, that emotional side and the power of what we're able to do, I think those skills are there for the future. But just to pause there, I think we've had a couple of questions. So just to deviate, there's definitely some relevance here. A question here by Neela, which was, we all know the pros and cons of using AI, or the pros of using AI, but what are the cons of implementing AI? So, and then I'll follow with another question that's probably quite related to what we've just been talking about as well.
Yeah, look, I'll use AI as the example, but with every yin, there's a yang. With every pro, there's a negative. It doesn't matter the technology or the activity or whatever else. So great productivity, quality, innovation, tick, 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 all done, all doable, all deliverable. Cons or negatives. Well, what about de-employment? To your point a moment ago, what if lots of people are suddenly out of a job because of AI? The knowledge workers going out of jobs, those are the people who actually provide the bulk of income tax to the economy. So work your way through the consequences. What about bias in AI? We're used to AI back in the day, and I'm going to use a phrase, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I'm using a phrase from back in the day. It said, when software engineers were creating applications that identified other software engineers who were really good, what you ended up with was white male, pale steel, software engineers, not deliberately, but looking around a room to say, oh, we're really great at this. Why don't we put our characteristics into a system? And from that system, what we can do is we'll go out and hire more software engineers. Well, if it looked like this, you were going to get more of that. You weren't going to get more females. You weren't going to get more people who are neurodiverse or anything else. So bias in AI has always been a problem. Please don't blame the AI. It's usually unconscious bias in us, because AI soups up a huge quantity of data, but it's us who put the data out into the world.
Yeah.
If it's the bad data going in, then you're going to get a biased decision, and you're going to get a lot of dirty data reinforcing that view. Look at as well, Craig, how if you take AI, which has been around for years in our social media platforms, well, guess what? Those social media platforms are designed to keep you engaged.
Yeah.
And therefore, are they going to keep you engaged with kittens? Well, yes, because there's about 20 billion images of cats. Yeah. But also some very extreme views happen at times. And then all of a sudden the AI brings together globally a lot of people who have that same view, and then it becomes very normal, because you might not have come across X in your own town, but 5,000 people across 8 billion, suddenly this normalizes and something else can happen. Yeah. That's not something I recommend. So the ethics are in there. AI can spread stuff really, really quickly, or digital technology can now spread it across the globe in a matter of seconds or moments, all in there as well. De-employment, or other subtler stuff, Craig, which is, the number of people I now see saying, well, the computer told me it, so it must be true. And you're going, it's not. Whatever idiot typed the data in, it's not. You start to see a lot of, if we look at deep fakes, and for those who don't know what deep fakes are, that's AI being used to create a video image of you or I, or a voice clone of you or I, and you go, well, actually, that's great, because now I can actually have me delivering a training course or a speech across the globe. I can do that in multiple languages, Japanese, Chinese, Spanish, great, all positive. You go, God, this is great. But actually the downside is, and this has been shown this year alone, Biden in the US, for example, someone created a deep fake of his voice, pumped it out to an area where elections were happening and said, look, folks, it's Joe Biden here. I don't need you to come out and vote because everything's okay. And of course, a lot of people didn't realize that this was fake. Yeah. And 20,000 calls later, that has serious consequences in an election. And this year, you're starting to see huge quantities of deep fake, malicious news being pumped out in a very personalized, very targeted way to manipulate elections that are happening to 40% of the world's population. From a financial point of view, someone recently got a voice clone of their CEO, passed to a CFO. They then did the transaction because it sounded like them perfectly. All you need is a little bit of noise off a speech, off social media, or whatever else, and I can capture that in a couple of seconds and clone you. Yeah. And they transferred 25 million into an account that had nothing to do with the company. So you're right. For every positive, there's a negative. The key bit is understanding these, the education, the teaching everyone in the business to use it responsibly, to teach them about the positives and the negatives, so that, as you say, you can then step forward in a very productive, responsible, ethical way, so that you get the benefits and you negate the risks. But there's always risks with everything, and AI is no different.
Yeah. And, this touches on, obviously a subject that's dear to a lot, which Alan asked us, how likely is it that jobs related to ICT, such as help desk, will be destroyed by AI? So, this is where people are feeling it,
Yeah, this is the fear, and the fear is real. So I don't have a perfect answer. Let me explain the non-perfect answer. For decades, we have had all the technology that we need to run very digital businesses. So, for example, with intelligent automation and robotic process automation, I can create essentially digital human beings who can think, that's the AI side, who can see, that's the OCR side, who can interpret and read documents, that's intelligent document processing, who can converse back with you, that's voice AI, or who can perform the actions, in other words, the clickety-click, on a digital computing system. And it has failed to a large degree and has not had the transformative effect that it could, because of numbers of reasons. One, we're complex beings. Two, we overhyped the technology and put it into the wrong place. Or 3, we didn't put it in the transformative way by redesigning the processes end to end and removing all sorts of friction. Or we didn't understand that actually here's how you augment great people with great technology at the right or key moments of truth when it really matters in a transaction. 76% of transformations have failed, and the reasons are pretty damned obvious. 25% work, and that's the rules are known, they're in that book, executive leadership, understand it, education, right tool, right business problem, process redesign. The rules are known. Why do more people not succeed? Well, lots of reasons, particularly they just want fast answers, and nothing worthwhile can be done overnight. So on a help desk, let's walk through some of the things that are happening. Not every call is hugely complex. And if I've answered a call once, I've probably answered some of these calls 1,000 times. So let's take a simple thing like password reset. Well, I don't need a human on the end of the call to do that. I can go into a program, tell it I've lost my password, answer a couple of questions, and job done. Very simple. Human out of that loop. Now, the nice thing there is that you could go, okay, well, if there's just a team answering password queries, they're out of a job. Well, that's a simple one to solve. What I would do is reorientate those individuals to far higher value work. So if they were teaching people how to use computing technology far more efficiently, imagine how many more people could be efficient, or answering more complex queries. Because let's be honest, there's always an inexhaustible list of IT things that get done that they can never get going to. So AI in that instance, or automation programs, would free people up to actually get to that backlog to create more work. But work your way through. More complex questions I can put into a chatbot. So in other words, what do I do in this instance? And a chatbot with Gen AI or conversational AI built in, like a Druid AI, for example, I can go in and put that platform on top of my finance system, on top of my HR system, on top of my operations system, on top of IT. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of service desk queries in each of those. And I can get a very secure, because I can put it into the context of the user and only allow them to get the answer that they're allowed to based on their permission to any query in the business that's deserve it. HR query about holidays, type it, ask it. Finance query, IT query, supplier query. So all that's eminently possible. And the consequence could be less people, because now I don't need as many people in my contact center, in my legal helpline, in my IT. But I have seen that done well. Businesses make more money, the people are freed up, the people strategy team have career path these individuals because they've got expertise to deliver more and better value. I love that. I've also seen people getting rid of large quantities of people, implementing IT well, and let's be honest, that is the job of business, to maximize shareholder value and share price, and they do tremendously well. And I've seen people do it badly as well. They've released the team, the technology hasn't lived up to the purpose. If you look over decades, new technology has created a bigger pie. New technology has created new jobs. There's less saddlers today than there are data scientists, for example. But the challenge comes back to, and this is an ethical and a societal one, how do government, how do employers, and how do we as individuals educate and prepare ourselves for a future that we know is going to change? The jobs that existed 60 years ago, 60 to 80% of them don't even exist. And the jobs that are there today won't exist in 20 years' time. How do we constantly put education, learning, talent growth, people strategy around everyone in the business and everyone in society to make sure we are valuable, we are growing, we are learning, and we continue to remain employable? That's the bigger question, because can the pie keep going? TBD. Let's see.
And Kieran, there's so much, isn't there? I mean, where does a leader start? I mean, so let me rephrase that. What would you suggest is the right level of information for a leader to have around generative AI, and where are the best sources? Where can they go and harvest this? Are there those communities that exist where they can talk to colleagues, talk out there in network and industry, link in with government? Are we seeing any of that, or is that still quite young in its inception?
Yeah, I think that's always been young in its inception, Craig. It doesn't matter the technology. What I always recommend for CEOs, this comes back to you and I talking about coaching, is your network truly is your net worth. And you and I have been to lots of events where it's all hype, a load of BS, no real value. And very often what I recommend to CEOs, CTOs or whatever else is go and actively seek out people who can challenge your views and opinion, and you can truly add value to each other. And do it in a non-competitive way so you genuinely support each other. So the groups are available. You might have to find yourself actually going to seek them. There is not a lot of non-hype information. Some very great research out there. You know, McKinsey do a great job, Deloitte, Digital Black, you know, loads and loads. Or again, and I say it in no vain way, the book that I've just written is designed to educate CEOs and business leaders, non-technical business leaders. If you're technical, you can read it as well, by the way, and the accompanying 50-page prompt guide and guide or whatever else. I wrote that because there isn't the information out there.
Yeah.
Now, what I would say is this, look, like everything in life, there's very few experts who've been around the corner and done that. As I said, you and I started out 10 years ago doing this, and if we knew each other 10 years, we were doing it for years beyond that. So you find someone who's literally done AI, because Gen AI is an extension, it's just another subset, who understands what they're actually talking about. You avoid AI washing. You look at people on LinkedIn and see if they've suddenly generated, and I had this the other day myself, join my AI group. I've done AI for decades. Here's all these AI materials. And I'm looking at this, quick look at the LinkedIn, you're going, you've never done AI before in your life. Now you're presenting yourself as an expert. Be a little bit more ethical and responsible in business, because this is cash, this is shareholder value, this is people's careers. So go to the few who really know what they're doing. Pay them a little bit of money because it'll save you a lot of money in the long run. Get education starting at, you know, you and I do master classes to boards. We do master classes to CEOs. And this isn't a sales pitch for us, by the way. Others do it. I'm just saying how I would do it. Deliver the education that talks at the top level about what it is, what it isn't, what's hype, what's the risks, what's not, how it can be applied to your business strategy, how you can make people more productive. What are the consequences to roles and jobs and spend and money and budget and everything else? Get that education and start to jump in. Maker, taker, maker, shaker. Start working your way through this to build the muscle, and you can do it reasonably quickly, because if COVID proved anything, if something's important enough, and digital and human workers and AI are really important for the future of business, everything can happen really quickly. It's just making sure that you bring the right advice, you assign the right budget, an executive team owns it, you bring everybody along the journey, you're conscious of the risk, and you progress at pace.
Yeah. Look, leadership we've got new age leadership coming through all the time now. What should we be focusing those leadership development programs on? You know, there's always been that, think about people, process, technology. I mean, it's got so much more complicated than that. And the focus on something human-centric, you'd think is second nature to us or first nature to us, but it's actually not. So what do you see as real opportunity for future leadership development programs?
Yeah, look, I might be biased in this because it comes from my perspective. Yeah. Look, people need to understand business. What do we mean by business? Well, you'd be amazed by the number of CEOs or boards or CTOs or CIOs or CAOs, Chief AI Officers, Chief Generative AI Officers, who I come across on a daily basis, who are so focused on the outputs or the tasks that they're doing, they don't truly understand how that business is set up to deliver value. They don't truly understand their customers, they don't understand business strategy, and they don't understand the numbers of business, which is finance. And therefore, there's business basics that I think every leader should understand. You know, finance, customer, product value. They should go to the Gemba and walk around the business and see what's really happening. They should get their customers in front of them and constantly be focused on that. They need to know their numbers and. That's business 101, business basics for me. On top of that, technology is too transformative. You can look at Pestle and talk about everything, but one of the biggest things for me is technology. Never going to be slower, will suddenly accelerate. The technologies that are coming are immense, particularly Gen AI, what you can do at limited to no cost and power is just nuts. So every CEO, every board should understand technology and understand AI, because that influences your strategy. Yeah. The last bit is this, because I truly believe digital and human businesses will be absolutely key to anybody's success going forward. you need to understand people, have that emotional intelligence, be a leader who paints a vision that people want to fight and get behind, because great people and great technology really matter. And therefore understand your people strategy so well, become a qualified and certified coach, understand basic human psychology and motivation and whatever else, understand how to communicate really well with that team. So you have a brilliant business that's very digital and technology and AI enabled, with amazing people inside of it, all working for purpose. Once you get all those things delivered and focused on delivering immense value for your customers, your shareholder value, your shareholder price will go through the roof. You will have a team that will operate in a business in a high performance way, and you'll have fun doing it. So there's three primary things: the business, the technology, and the people side of things. Those for me are one-on-ones that people need to understand. I'm not underestimating how complex that is. It's very complex. And around the edges, you build your network, you open up yourself to get exposed to new and better ways of thinking and innovating and whatever else. And key, and this is the tough one, Craig, people don't think about the emotional side of leadership. Find the support that you need. Find out a way that you can work to balance your lifestyle as well. So you get downtime, you get time with your family, you get the support of groups and peers, because leadership is lonely as well at times. And therefore, deliver the three, but create a network, a support system, a health system, a family system, and whatever you want to call it, a mindset system that allows you to have an amazing, amazing career in life as you're doing these things. Because why else are you doing it?
And Kieran, we haven't touched on this actually. Talent. I mean, we must be seeing huge shortfall of skills in this area, but would it be right to say that that's also opportunity for organizations, for leaders, for managers to start building that next element? I mean, this has got to be really prevalent at the moment. Just must be a massive skills gap that we're seeing.
Yeah, look, I have a basic philosophy, Craig, which is great leaders create great leaders. And it doesn't matter whether there's technology or new technology or whatever else, because there's always going to be new tech. There's always going to be new business challenges. And this should be a 101 daily peaks. What does surprise me is businesses get surprised. Now, everybody's suddenly seen Gen AI on the 22nd of November, 2023 and got surprised. But that was version 3.5. And therefore, I'm recommending businesses every year, and we spend, you and I, time with businesses, scanning the horizon, looking out at 3 and 5 years, understanding what's going to move in the market, predicting with a degree of certainty the technologies that are coming that are going to be important, the business impacts, the changes to regulation. There's very few, although there are at times, surprises once you look out. Get your head up out of your business on a daily basis and do that. So I see skill shortages. And we've heard about the war on talent, not created by Gen AI or AI. This war on talent phrase has been around for decades. So my question and my challenge to leaders is, are you taking time, and not just you, by the way, so I'm not just putting all this in the CEO or the board. It's called leadership because there's a collective leadership group. Is everybody playing their part to look ahead, to have a people strategy and a talent strategy, not for tomorrow or next week, but for 6 months' time and 12 months' time and 24 months' time? And you as a leadership team, are you doing the do every single day and haven't got your head up? Or are you actually investing in you? Are you learning coaching and leadership and looking at technology and exposing yourself to new ideas and new ways of working and new themes and new businesses and new sectors? Or are you head down in the day job? Because the more you keep your head down, your skills will become very redundant. And then when you think about that, you go, damn, that's right. I must read more. I must study more. I must create those networks. I must bring in consulting expertise and get challenged. Every year I must do a pestle or a whatever variation of that you want. But that should be the case of every member of your team and every part of your business. And that's not just training the new people, but it might be, how do I refresh some talent? What are the skills that I need to bring in? But go back to what I said earlier on, a business strategy, a technology/digital strategy, and a people strategy all need to go together to make a successful business every day, not just now, Gen AI, but last year, 20 years ago, and in 20 years' time, that will still be true.
And Kieran, not trying to promote the book that's coming out tomorrow. If there was one thing that you could amplify, from that book. That's, some of the one key message that you believe really needs to resonate with everything going on with generative AI. And I know there'll be more than one thing, so please, if you add another, that's fine. But I know you and I have that problem of talking too much. But what would your thinking cap be? What would you play back?
Yeah, look, at its most simplest, jump in. For the love of God, jump in. This is genuinely the age of AI. This genuinely works. It's too important, too transformative to ignore. Why can I say that? Well, I've been in business and I've seen all of the technologies, the rubbish ones. Let's be honest, we weren't all going to buy a £4,000 headset with half an avatar body and jump into the internet or Ethernet and buy things. I've seen hype over the years, CRM, ERP, IA, ERPA, you name it, seen it all. I've done this job. I was a head of data science. I created the first truly decision insight-based, data-driven businesses 10 or 15 years back. You'll have to look at my CV. I know what AI can do. I know what it can't do. I know how it works. I know how technology works. I know how business works. Damn, this works. So jump in, but jump in responsibly.
Okay, that's a fantastic message, and I think we've been gassing here for a bit, so I think we should draw this to a close. But I just wanted to say to Kieran, just a huge thank you. To everyone who's joined us today. Kieran and I keep collaborating on we talk on a weekly, if not monthly basis. We're always checking in. We will share an AI-generated script of this whole webinar. So please, that's a forthcoming attraction. I'd like to think Kieran will open up. We'll send some Calendly invites, just so if anyone wants to hook up with us, have any further discussions. We're always interested to hear, to support, to help, to be honest. So that'll also be a byproduct. We'll get that shared on our Leadership is Mental platform. But for me, it's a genuine special thank you. It's been wonderful talking. And if truth, I'm excited because I like to jump in, but I also like the fact that we need to be a little bit reserved and help and coach people through some of this change. And I think that's a wonderful opportunity. And again, I'm not a marketeer, but it's something that's very close to my heart and close to Socium 10X's heart, that we can give people the confidence to go forward in these sort of new generation of thinking and doing things. But to your point, I love the way you said it. We've got to jump in. So I'm going to end on that note and say, yep, let's jump in. Let's jump on board. Let's have some fun. So, but wonderful. And thank you for the time today.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to everyone for dialing in. As Craig said, look, we'll offer up a limited number of Calendlys. Otherwise, we could be there all day. So if the first people get in really quickly, first 3 or so, then we'll spend time one-on-one answering your questions. I wish you every success. And if I can help you in any way or Craig can help, more than happy to do so.
So everyone, a huge thank you from me, a huge thank you from Leadership is Mental. Forthcoming attraction, we will have more of these, so watch this space, and thank you. It's been fantastic. Thanks, everyone. Ta.